Ah, yes, here we go. A very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. Sunday morning in the Spice Island. Today happens to be, let's see here, the 27th day of January. Month number one, almost gone. Folks, I'm so happy to see you folks out there already this morning. Nice of you to join us, and we do hope you can spend the entire 3 hours with us this morning. And in the event that you can't, just remember you'll be able to go on back to Facebook shortly after the broadcast ends, and you'll be able to see it there, as well as later on today, up maybe an hour or so after, up on YouTube. Hey, ain't that good? So, man, let me tell you, kind of pumped up about this morning's program because I'm gonna sort of get off the beaten path this morning. Show you some of what I did yesterday. Those of you who are already on the GRENADABROADCAST.com website, you notice that I said that what I was doing yesterday afternoon was gallivanting. Yeah, we'll get to that in a wee bit. But first, just want to remind you that we will, as always, get started with a passage from the Holy Scriptures. You ain't going nowhere without that, tell you that. And I don't want to describe it as feedback, but what I really have to do this morning is update you on the situation in Venezuela. This has, to a large extent, obsessed the minds of many people over the past week because things ain't looking too nice down there. Have you seen the crowds that have been protesting? There have been lots of videos running around on WhatsApp. I can say WhatsApp for sure because I've received some of those. Man, when you take a look at those crowds, you're looking at the population of Grenada, huh? It's awesome. It really is awesome. And that, I think, gives you an idea of the desperation that these people out there are facing. Yeah, tough times in Venezuela. And we'll hear the latest from the BBC in just a wee bit. I got a couple of releases from them a short while ago, and I will share those with you. As far as editorials are concerned this morning, we do have the new today, only. And the reason for that, the Grenada Advocate, they inform me sometime during the week that they will not have an editorial this week, okay? So unfortunately, you're going to have to do without that. Instead, the new today is captioned, "A Dangerous Bouncer." What's that all about? Well, you're not going to have to wait much longer because we'll get to that right after our opening break. Then, what I will do to replace the Grenada Advocate this morning, temporarily, is bring you an opinion piece which was written by our good friend Beverly Sinclair. Beverly, as you know, is the producer of Make We Chat here on Grenada Broadcast. And I guess this week, you know, she had just had enough, and she put pen to paper, if you will. And she published an article on Facebook. Well, big deal. Everybody publishes articles on Facebook nowadays, right? But I'll tell you, I was amazed at the reaction to her writing. A lot of people chimed in, and as of last night, I had not come across anybody who had disagreed with her. Okay? So we're going to share that with you this morning in place of the editorial from the Grenada Advocate. Then, our main feature. No, not our main feature. I have a segment here on the website which is captioned "Gallivanting on a Saturday Afternoon." Yeah, man. Georgie Porgy yesterday afternoon took his little camera here, his smartphone, and decided to hit the road. I wanted to show you, you know, some of the sights and sounds of Grenada, if you will. And I put together 4 vignettes, if you will, little videos. One of them was about visitors to the island, the cruise ships, the cruise ship visitors. There were 2 big ones in town yesterday, and by the way, there's another one in here this morning. So there were 2 big ones, and I just went downtown to see what sort of activity there might have been, you know. I guess I was playing the role of a tourist. They come here to look at us. And I go there to look at them. Huh? Yeah, well, we have a little piece on that this morning. What does the Saturday market have to offer? It's become the norm for a lot of people. Saturday morning, what do? You go to the marketplace. And I thought, you know, so you go to the marketplace. What are you looking for? I'll tell you what they are looking for. The stuff you're going to see on your little screen there this morning. And one of the reasons why I decided to do that is because those of you who join us for Good Day Grenada on a weekday morning, you know full well that we have a buddy out there in the Big Apple, Anthony DeRiggs. And Anthony does these little home videos, which he publishes on Facebook as well. And this past week, he did a piece, which is, I think it's captioned, God has given us blessed soil, or words to that effect. But essentially, he's saying that, you know, God has given us the soil that we need to feed ourselves. And he talked about various types of fruit and vegetables and stuff like that, and also showed you some pictures. And that was part motivation for what I did yesterday. Okay? So you're going to see that this morning. Then, because there were 2 ships in town yesterday, I decided, I am usually around town when the ships are here. I live in town, okay? But I decided yesterday afternoon to make a little jaunt down to Grand Anse. I had heard about all the activity that takes place down there, especially as far as the beach chairs are concerned. A friend of mine, Deanna, she loves going down there to watch the action. You'd be amazed at what you see. The dialogues that go on between the visitors and the vendors on the beach, something to behold. Well, I didn't get any of that dialogue yesterday, but I wanted to do a couple of things. First, I wanted to see what's all this talk about so many beach chairs on Grand Anse Beach. You'll see that in just a wee bit. But I'm sure many of you also remember that not too long ago, there was a big brouhaha here in this place about the new jetty that was being built to facilitate the water taxis that run back and forth between Grand Anse and the cruise ships. Well, I actually set foot on that jetty yesterday. I am no expert, so I can't tell you whether the jetty was properly built or not. But what I'll tell you is it wasn't doing that. It's firmly implanted. It's built from concrete. And I got to speak to one of the water taxi operators who was very vocal. He had some comments. We're going to share those with you this morning as well. So that's three, right? The big ships in town. What does Saturday market have to offer? And the Grand Anse Beach on a cruise ship day. And oh, by the way, as far as what does the market have to offer, as you watch that piece, I hope you will look very intently at the produce that's available there. See if you notice anything that may come as a bit of a surprise to you. You'll see a lot of things like cabbage and tomato and spices and stuff. Yeah? But see if there's anything that sort of stands out. And then you can post it on Facebook and let us know how knowledgeable you are about the market downtown, right? The fourth piece that I did is captioned, "How did the anglers feel about the 50th Billfish tournament?" Which, by the way, wrapped up yesterday. Actually, perhaps I should say last night, because they had their prize giving ceremony last night, which I did not attend. I did not attend because I had to be here getting ready for you guys this morning. But I was dockside and got to speak to one of the organizers, no stranger to you folks, gentleman by the name of Andrew Baczynski. And he arranged for me to speak with a number of the anglers, the fishermen, if you will, okay? And let me tell you, I think you're going to find it very heartwarming when you listen to the things that these people had to say about the Billfish tournament. Folks, it was a big success. As you're about to find out, they had the most boats in the 50 years that they have been doing this. 50 years. They had the biggest turnout ever. And it seems like from now on, Grenada is not just a little speck in the Billfish tournament calendar for the Caribbean. We are right up there, you know? So, that, my dear friends, is your rundown for this Sunday morning. All right? Am I kidding or what? No, it's not your complete rundown. Our main feature this morning is captioned after the piece which Beverly did. Is this really a solution? So how are we going to handle that feature? I'll tell you how. We're going to have Beverly Sinclair joining us, Beverly, broadcast journalist. She's going to be joining us. She's not going to be sitting here. She's going to be remotely present, if you will, technologically present. She's going to be joined by Mr. Brian Pitt. He's going to be sitting here. Now that's the one who's going to be in here. Social commentator, Brian. Yesterday morning I called Brian because I wanted to talk with him about something else. And he says, nah, you know, George, it's really not important. Boy, there are a lot of things going on in this place, man, that people need to be speaking out about. A lot of things going on in this place. He says, you have one man running everything in this country. Oh, he's running all the ministries. He's running the corporations, when he said corporations, I think he was referring to the, what do you call those government corporations? Statutory bodies and this and that and the other. So I said, hey, okay, Brian, come on in. And how would you like to join Beverly and talk about this issue that she wrote about? And by the way, what Beverly wrote about was the address to the nation by Minister Emmeline Pear a couple of days ago, which had a lot of people going, oh, okay. So, Beverly and Brian are going to be joined by one of our usual suspects, Yaman, good old Mags, Margaret Francis. She read the article, and it, you know, made her eyes spin around as well. So she's going to be joining us remotely as well this morning. And on that note, let me see if there's, yeah, that's it. There you have your rundown for this morning. 17.5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Boy, what a beautiful morning it is. Nice and quiet, nice and quiet. Let me, let me turn here to Facebook and see who they and who do they. Laurie Bridgman is saying, top of the morning to you, George. Well, top of the morning to you too, Laurie. Ella Mae Jackson, I'm honored. Hello, Ella Mae. Still haven't told me when you're coming back to visit us. Ella Mae used to work here years ago. She's from the United States. Used to work here years ago, and then went back home. And but she's kept in touch, and she's pretty active on Facebook as well. You may have seen her. Beverly Mitchell is saying good morning. Fitzroy Adams is saying good morning to all watching such an educational program. Thank you, Fitzroy. Kipling Francis is asking that you share the live, and I certainly hope that you will. Kipling, by the way, is in New York. Antheorella, out there in Decatur. Good morning, George and all. Tuned in and ready for my Grenada fix. Don't start giving people the wrong impression about fixes, Anthea. But it's good to see you, my friend. She goes on to say, by the way, I truly enjoyed McWe Chat last Thursday. Good seeing Michael Bascom. He knows his sports. Yeah, that was interesting. Very interesting and revealing too. And our good buddy out there in Florida, Orlando, Ryan, Ryan is always telling us about all the sunshine and the beautiful temperatures they're having. Well, it's so unusual to see him saying here this morning it's rainy in Florida. Gemma Monica Hunt is saying tree. Brian Pitt, true. Tree, true. Not sure. Reese Francis is saying good morning, George. Fellow Grenadians, special good morning to you. Listening from Manchester in the UK. And I think the last person I see on there for the time being is Kathleen Thomas, who's saying good morning to you folks. Well, my dear friends, a very good morning to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Right now, we're going to take first little break here, and we'll come on back with the buzz.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Speyside.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada. Labukan Creative Center, in association with Spice Basket, presents Mayhem in Paradise.
All the time I man you complaining I never had a steady job. Now I get an opportunity to get a permanent one. And woman, you acting up? I acting up? Yes, and you know why I didn't tell you, man? It's because of your stupid attitude, man.
My stupid attitude?
Yes.
You come this early morning pulling cutlass at me, right?
It's a play by Francis Uriah Peters, together with a nostalgic folk musical journey, plus the Tivoli drummers at Spice Basket, Wednesday, February 6th. Tickets from Grenadan Optical and Kittens Drug Mart at $40 each. Children 12 and under, $25 at the door. It's a special independence production of drama, folk music and dance, produced by Uriah Peters, Wednesday, February 6th at Spice Basket, 8:30 p.m.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Okie doke, folks. This is where we get into this week's edition of The Buzz. And as always, we will begin with a reading from the Holy Scriptures. And this morning's reading, first reading, the opening reading, comes to you from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verses 12, 13, and 14. Okay? Right. The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season, and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but will borrow from none. The Lord will make you the head, not the tail. If you pay attention to the commands of the Lord your God that I give you this day, and carefully follow them, you will always be at the top, never at the bottom. Do not turn aside from any of the commands I give you today, to the right or to the left, following other gods and serving them. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 12, 13, and 14. Okay? Now, this past week, a lot of people have focused their attention on what's been happening out there in Venezuela. I have a couple of releases here that I want to share with you. First of all, European powers have warned Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro that he must call elections within 8 days, or they will officially recognize the opposition's claim to leadership. Mr. Maduro is under pressure after his rival, Juan Guaido, declared himself acting president this past Wednesday. Several countries, including the United States, already backed Mr. Guaido as president. Venezuela later rejected the ultimatum at a United Nations meeting where divisions between world powers were laid bare. Foreign Minister Jorge Arisa told members of the UN Security Council in New York that Mr. Maduro's presidency was legitimate and the country would not be pressured into calling elections. Quote, nobody is going to give us deadlines or tell us if there are elections or not. Unquote. That's what he said. President Maduro was sworn in for a second term earlier this month after an election which was marred by an opposition boycott and allegations of vote rigging, leading to large anti-Maduro protests. That's what I was talking about earlier on. You've probably seen the video. He accuses Mr. Guaido, the head of the National Assembly, of mounting a coup. Okay, that's one of the releases I told you about. Now here's another one. Venezuela's top military representative to the United States has defected from Nicolas Maduro's government. Colonel Jose Luis Silva says he now recognizes opposition leader Juan Guaido as president instead. Mr. Guaido declared himself acting president on Wednesday, gaining the backing of several countries, including the United States. In response, Mr. Maduro accused his rival of attempting a coup and broke off relations with the United States. The security forces are seen as the key player in this crisis, and Mr. Guaido has asked them to put themselves on the side of the Venezuelan people. In a video, which was filmed at the Venezuelan embassy in Washington, Colonel Silva called for free elections and urged his brothers in the armed forces to recognize President Juan Guaido as the only legitimate president. Quote, the armed forces have a fundamental role in the restoration of democracy in our country. Please, brothers, do not attack our people. Unquote. Later, he told the Reuters news agency that two other Venezuelan consular officials in the United States also recognized Mr. Guaido as leader. Folks, this ain't over. This ain't over. It's not. And it's very sad to see what is happening there. You know, one of the themes that keeps popping up on Facebook and social media, period, is how come is it that Grenada and the other islands have remained so quiet, after when one considers just how much assistance, you know, financial, technical, human resources we have actually received from Venezuela. I don't know. Okay. Dexter Guillaume, and I trust, Dexter, that I'm pronouncing your name properly. Guillaume, Guillaume, yeah, French. He's joined us for the good news out of Grenada. So he says, folks, 9:30. Let me take another little break here, and we'll come back with that piece I told you about from Beverly.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing.
A commemorative postage stamp.
So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grand Anse and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Okie dokie, folks. 9:33, 27 minutes away from 10 o'clock. Again, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. Those folks on Facebook, good to see you. Now, here's an opinion piece which was written by Beverly Sinclair. It is captioned, "Is this really a solution?" So once again, the elected officials of the state of Grenada, this time led by the Minister of Education, has stepped up to show that the contributions of the nation's teachers are dismissible, and anything they do, elected officials can do too. Or maybe do better. Announcing a national secondary school sports meet in the wake of the announcement that there would be no intercall, the flagship secondary school games in Grenada, is nothing short of contemptuous and total disregard for the Herculean work that teachers put in every year to make the event happen. A caring government, as the minister claims, cannot selectively show care to some and then trample on others, as if they are unwanted and unwelcome in the state. I am deeply disturbed at this attitude towards the nation's teachers, and in my mind, it overshadows with dark, heavy clouds any good intentions for this substitute sports meet. If there was genuine concern about the cancellation of intercall, why not hasten to meet with the Principals Association and try to salvage the situation and seek a solution, instead of setting up a border clash? Is we against them? This is not leadership. It is arrogance and disrespect for the people who elect you and the people you are supposed to serve. A member of parliament is an elected official chosen by the people as the best person to represent their interests in the House of Parliament, not yours. And if any elected official happens to be given a ministerial portfolio, it is all a part of service to the people, not service to self or any political party or ideology. So, if the Minister of Education or other elected officials are upset that the Principals Association had to take the decision to cancel intercall, they should step back from their personal feelings and seek an action that will not further polarize a divided society, but is in the best interest of all involved in intercall. The athletes are not the only stakeholders. And furthermore, if there is such concern about the athletes, where are the substitute events for all the other sporting events that have been canceled? Annual football, cricket, basketball, and netball competition, plus school sports that have not yet happened. All were canceled for the same reasons cited by the Principals Association for the cancellation of intercall. This show of arrogance is not leadership, and it is sending a message that teachers are not really a critical part of the society. We can just brush them aside, knock them over, and step over them, because anyone can do what they do, even Imani trainees. The fiscal space is obviously quite flexible, but not for teachers. Or maybe it's the funds that were deducted from them which will be used to stage the substitute intercall games. Let's hear how much it will cost and how it will be financed. I am truly saddened by this approach from those in positions of leadership and authority. I am hopefully looking on to see the demonstration of the caring that I hear so much about, because what I see is the polar opposite. Come on, Madam Minister of Education. You, above all others, should not be exhibiting this kind of behavior. Step back and do a take two with a new script, because this take one is for the dustbin of history. That's a piece that was written by Beverly Sinclair, appeared on Facebook, gathering a lot of reaction. And just in case you missed it earlier on, Bev is going to be chatting with us, I think about 11 o'clock this morning. I do wish she'd come on a little bit earlier, because I'm sure there are a lot of things that a lot of people are going to have to say. Bev is going to be joined by Brian Pitt, who is a social commentator. And they will be joined by Margaret Francis, who is out there with very, very keen eyes, observing everything. Now, let me, itchy eyes this morning, itchy eyes. Let me turn back here to Facebook. Hello, Sharon. Good morning, says Sharon. So GG, West Indies beat England by over 300 runs. Boy, I bet Mr. Wiltshire is an extremely happy person. Probably didn't sleep last night. Yeah, man. Windies beat England, and I think that's going to help to bring out a pretty good crowd when they come here next couple of weeks. Ryan says, regarding Venezuela, it's not good to drink bush for other people's fever, as we say in Grenada. Okay, Ryan, you're old enough to remember that, eh? Okay. Louise Caraman is saying good morning as well. Lori Bridgman says, Grenada and the rest of the region cannot say or do anything about what happened in Venezuela. Eggs have no right in Rockstone Dance. Boy, you guys are reliving a lot of old memories, eh? A lot of the old sayings. Anthony DeRigg says, good morning, George. Today we breathe a thankful prayer for the breath we have, but do not own. God bless you. God bless you too, Anthony. And we've also been joined here now by Veronica Sandy. Yeah, nice to see you folks. Just let me take a look here at the Facebook feed and see how that's going on Grenada Broadcast. Yeah. The feed is there. The feed is there. Whoa, good to see all of you folks here this morning. Thanks a lot for joining us. All right. Let me take another little break here, and we'll come back with the editorial from the New Today after this.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Okay, folks, it's 13 and a half minutes away from the hour, and my eyes just lit up a moment ago. I see here on Facebook, Chester. Hello, Chester. Chester is saying, good morning. I am back. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, Chester, so good to see you. And if you don't believe me, Antheorello says here, so good to have you back. Good morning, folks. I'm sure the folks on Facebook and wherever are also happy to see him. Davini Leo says, good morning to all SGG class. Looking forward to another informative program. Have a blessed day, everyone. Thank you so much, Davini. Nice to see you this morning. I'm not sure where Davini is, what part of the world, but nice to have you join us. Okay, Pilgrims, let's get down to the editorial from the New Today. It is captioned, A Dangerous Bouncer. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell and the ruling New National Party government are facing a potential political nightmare from the public sector unions on the contentious issue of pension and gratuity payments. The battle lines are clearly drawn, with the main combatants being the Prime Minister himself and his handful of cabinet ministers and workers who come from all strata of the Grenadian society, including supporters of the very party in government. As it currently stands, the situation has nothing to do with the main opposition National Democratic Congress and is not driven by a party which the Prime Minister believes is dead and buried and no longer a political threat to him, given the back-to-back 15-zip victories at the polls in 2013 and 2018. The current problem was brought on by the government itself over the manner in which it coerced a number of union leaders to sign on the eve of the March 13, 2018 poll, a controversial document which gave the impression that pension was being restored to public workers following its removal during the era of the 1979-1983 Grenada Revolution. It is clear that the unions were hoodwinked into a deal and an arrangement in which they left hold on a sec, let me read that again. It is clear that the unions were hoodwinked into the deal and an arrangement in which they felt that they had a 25% pension and gratuity, in keeping with what was in place up to the suspension of the Grenada Constitution with the overthrow of the duly elected Eric Gary government on March 13, 1979, by Maurice Bishop and the left-leaning New Jewel movement in a coup d'etat. It should be noted that the government has never publicly denied that the cabinet secretary, Beverly Sinclair, who is no longer the leader of the government negotiating team, did fly in the face of the union leaders a document with the 25% proposal before the so-called historic signing of the pension and gratuity deal. A number of things have happened in recent months, including strike action by teachers and public officers, street marches, work to rule by the workers, and the docking of their salaries to affect them, especially around the Christmas period. The issue of the docking of the salaries is seemingly headed for the High Court for a ruling issued on a decision taken by the Grenada Union of Teachers to challenge the deductions from the salaries of teachers. Several lawyers hold the view that the teachers have a very good case, as the government had no legal authority to dip its hands into the salaries of teachers. The school of thought is that the issue of teachers not showing up for work is a disciplinary matter to be handled by the Public Service Commission, which is the only lawful body that can rightfully take action against them. The Prime Minister and his cabinet of ministers are not known to have any authority in law to take disciplinary action against public officers in Grenada, Carriacou, and Pitt Martinique. The GUT has a representative on the PSC and would be in a position to know if any decision of that sort was taken by the body. With each and every passing day in 2019, the battle lines are drawing closer towards a major showdown between the contending parties on the pension and gratuity issue. The announcement by the principal associations that there will be no intercolor games this year is in light of the current impasse with the Mitchell government, should not surprise anyone on the island and can be described as a dangerous bouncer. The decision was virtually predictable, and the financial losses of no intercall could be great for the private sector and busmen, as well as vendors who look forward to the event to help sustain their livelihood. If the government steps in to hold the games for itself, it is not clear whether the students will take part or stay away in solidarity with their teachers and principals. The New Today believes that the government can easily bring the impasse to an end by activating the court to give a ruling on the contentious issue of whether the 25% being demanded by the public sector unions is in accord with the Constitution. The 2008 to 2013 Congress government of then Prime Minister Tillman Thomas had made an amendment to the laws governing the Supreme Court to give the Attorney General the prerogative to file a reference to the Court of Appeal for direction to be given to the lower court on matters of contention. If Dr. Mitchell and the cabinet of ministers are serious, then the newly installed Attorney General Darshan Ramdani should be instructed to move the Court of Appeal to give guidance on the 25% pension and gratuity issue. This was an option open to both previous office holders, Dr. Lawrence Joseph and Kendra Maturin Stewart, but was never pursued by them for whatever reason. However, Attorney General Ramdani has an early opportunity to prove himself and take the necessary steps to move the Court of Appeal to clear up the pension and gratuity issue, not only for this generation, but the next generation of public officers. The decision of the Court of Appeal would be binding on the public sector unions and staff associations, as well as the current government and succeeding administrations, as a landmark decision will be given on the controversial issue of pensions due to public officers prior to and after 1983. The New Today had suggested last month that the unions also had an option to move the High Court to sit in its constitutional jurisdiction to give a ruling on their demands for the 25% for their membership. This constitutional court can give a quick decision on which is the formula in law to govern pension and gratuity payments and bring an end to the current impasse in the national interest. The court is the one to resolve this contentious pension and gratuity issue, and not the Labor Commissioner or the Minister of Labor. Pilgrims, there you have it. That's the editorial from this past week's edition of the New Today. Forgive me, I mentioned to you my eyes are not what they're supposed to be this morning. Let's see here. We have now been joined by Keyshawn Brathwaite. Hello, Keyshawn. Say good morning. And boy, so many people send us their blessings. I am just absolutely honored. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've taken care of our intro. We've taken care of the buzz. We've taken care of our editorials. Coming up next, let's see here, it's 1 minute away from 10 o'clock. Coming up next, we are going to gallivant with Georgie Porgy. But first, a break.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Labukan Creative Center, in association with Spice Basket, presents Mayhem in Paradise.
All the time you complaining I never had a steady job. Now I get an opportunity to get a permanent one. And woman, you acting up.
I acting up?
Yes, and you know why I didn't tell you, man? It's because of your stupid attitude, man.
My stupid attitude?
Yes.
You come this early morning pulling cutlass at me, right?
It's a play by Francis Urias Peters, together with a nostalgic folk musical journey, plus the Tivoli drummers at Spice Basket, Wednesday, February 6th. Tickets from Grenada Optical and Kittens Drug Mart at $40 each. Children 12 and under, $25 at the door. It's a special independence production of drama, folk music and dance, produced by Urias Peters, Wednesday, February 6th at Spice Basket, 8:30 p.m.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
We have now been joined by Ernesto Jose. Says, good morning, Principal Grant. Another episode of Education Sunday. Just got up, had a long night at work. Hope there's no punishment for being late. We'll let you off this time. But next time, just bring along a little note signed by your mom. Okay? Okay, folks. Now. Here we go. I am so looking forward to sharing this with you. Yesterday afternoon, I got, I guess, Grenadians. Oh, by the way, Cheryl Khalees Theg is saying, good morning, George Grant. Good morning, Khalees Theg. There's an old saying here, yeah, hot foot. Well, George got hot foot yesterday and decided to hit the road with this little smartphone there and this gimbal. And I went downtown to begin, and I began by gallivanting down to the cruise port to take a quick look at the cruise arrivals. There were
Watch me.
2 ships.
Hello. Hold it back there for me.
Little capacity.
Yeah, hold it.
Just a little over 5,000. Yes. By. That one was that shot right there just restaurant. No. Yeah. And the Celebrity Silhouette, which is the one you're looking at to the left here, she had a capacity of 2,450.
Chicken.
At 2,790. Today, by the way, there is just one ship in port, and I'm going to show you that one. And she only has a capacity of 1,828.
Okay, ma'am? We need to get the gate open
there you
on the
go.
other side, okay?
That's the scene down at the port yesterday. Okay. There is pure Grenada. And there are the passengers coming up. Yeah. And then, tomorrow, you've got the Marella Explorer. She will be in port with a capacity of 1,000. There was another scorcher downtown yesterday, another really hot day. As you can see, not a whole lot of activity out on the streets. There I am walking to Brandon Street. Heading for the market to take a look at what good. Hey. Okay, so I'm going to take another quick little break. And by the way, looks like Beverly is going to be joining us a little bit earlier this morning, and boy, I'm so happy about that. There she is on that monitor over there. And so we're probably going to start our little conversation a little bit earlier than the 11 o'clock I had planned. Now, I'm not sure if Brian heard me earlier on this morning asking Beverly to try and show up a little bit earlier, but I also hope Margaret is. Haven't seen her this morning. By the way, Cheryl Khalees Theg says, Yvette's sister, George Grant, she says good morning as well. Well, good morning, Yvette, and good morning, Cheryl. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much. Time for you to come home and see your old Abbé, huh? Why not? So, let's take another little quickie here, and we'll come on back and see what was going on the market yesterday.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing.
A commemorative postage stamp.
So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical, and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners, and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grand Anse, and Lumber Department, Carenage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
Okay, folks, before we move along, I see a note here from Ernesto Jose. He's saying that the audio is very low and he can't hear me clearly. Are there folks having an issue with the audio this morning? So far, looks pretty good here, but if you are, just in case you are, just let me pump that up a little bit. Let me know. Ryan out there says, where are the cruise buses to take the cruisers around? Ryan, let me tell you, yesterday I saw a lot of cruise buses, and those are the ones that were just parked at the mall downtown at the terminal, and I imagine that there were even more. Let me tell you, this place is inundated with tour operators. There were even more out on the road, you know, like up to GRENADA and around the island and what have you. So yeah, they were there. You just didn't see them in this video, okay? Lydia James is saying, good morning, Grenada, from the snowy Canada. Ha, ha, ha. Good morning, Lydia, from a very sunny Grenada. She awaits, folks. Now, let's fire up the market. And as I mentioned earlier on, as you look at all the produce you're going to see in this video, I think it runs maybe about Cheryl says it was only low during the video. Okay, yeah, the video, yeah, that's fine, because I was hoping to talk over the video. Okay, now, yes. As I mentioned this morning, I'd like you to take a look at all the produce you're going to be seeing there. A lot of it you would recognize, and maybe some of it you would not. I want to know if there's anything you see that you had not seen before. Here we go. That's my start. That's the start of a little walk through friends over there on the rigs is appreciating this. Peppers. Oh, I love seasoned peppers. You know, something I noticed yesterday is that tomatoes seem to be in. So there you have it. There you have it. That's some of what I saw yesterday afternoon walking through the market. And I have to mention this. I have to mention this. Last night I had a chat with Margaret. And I explained to her that something that kind of took me by surprise. Then again, perhaps it shouldn't. A lot of these people wanted to charge me to take pictures of their produce. Now, I went there yesterday hoping to get these pictures to show you this morning. So hopefully you know what's available down at the market on Saturday morning. Some of these folks were pretty hostile. They wanted to be paid because I was taking pictures. And when I was talking to Margaret last night, you know, we agreed on one thing. To an extent, I can understand why some of these folks make that sort of demand, you know? Because there's been talk about tourists. I'm not a tourist, but tourists come here, they take pictures of the produce, they go back to their countries and make a bundle, supposedly, with these pictures. And I guess the vendors have found out about that and feel, well, they're deserving of their share. So I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that that may be one of the reasons why they sort of viewed me as a tourist. Now, I thought everybody on the streets of St. George knew who I am, okay? But obviously not. Actually, in one case, the person actually referred to me by name. That is $5. That's $5. Yeah. Don't take me picture. Well, you notice I didn't take their pictures. I only took pictures of the produce. Okay. But it was a little bit unnerving to see that happen. I mean, somebody just takes a picture of a cucumber and you want $5? Which brings me to another point. You know, the market is a place, it's one of our greatest assets as far as I'm concerned. They always have a lot to offer. And these vendors, some of them are actually farmers themselves. They grow this stuff, they package it, and they bring it down to the market. They work hard. But sometimes I wonder about their business acumen. I've told this story before. You know, as a local, I would like to buy from the vendors in the market rather than going to one of the supermarkets. But believe me, I have to tell you the truth. I do a lot of my shopping in the supermarkets now. Why? You walk up to a vendor selling coconuts. Let's just use coconuts as an example, and I'm going to use fictitious prices here. You walk up to a vendor and ask the price of this coconut. $2. That's you, okay? George Grant comes along and asks the vendor, the same vendor, the price of that same coconut. $4. That kind of hurts. It kind of hurts. And I put this to the test with a woman who was helping me around the house here. When she goes up and asks the price of something, X dollars. George Grant asked the same thing. X plus 3, X plus 5. That's not nice, is it? That really is not nice. And it's a little bit of a turnoff because you come to the vendors first because you want to support your local people. You want to help them. But some of these people, boy, they're wicked. They're wicked. And that's not nice. That's not nice. All right. Let me get back here. Okay. Let me get back here to Facebook. Ernesto Jose says 2 cruise ships, but where's the tourist? Well, okay, Ernesto, first of all, in fairness, as I mentioned, there were about 5,000, supposedly about 5,000 people in here yesterday. But again, at the time that I was down there, which was in the hot sun, as you saw, midday, a lot of these folks may either have been having lunch on the boat or in our restaurants around the island, or some of them were probably off on tours, you know. So, Glenn Andrew Mark say good morning Munich and good morning Grenada, happy Sunday to all. Ryan Jabon says Pitty Bum Seasoning, Grenada Basil, yaman. Big eyes there, Ryan. Cheryl Caliste says, except for the packaged spices, the other produce looks like what I get in Atlanta. Cheryl, okay. At least you get the stuff up there. And Glennon Knight says, did not see anybody purchase, did not see anybody purchasing anything. Oh, Glenna, you big-eyed person. Okay. Lydia James says, they too damn greedy. Diaz, they do get in sale. Oh, Diaz, what? Oh, that's why they do get in sale. You know, Lydia, maybe. Our people need to learn. Our people need to learn. Because it's so heart-wrenching to know how hard some of these people work, but then they blow it by some of their business practices. And you know, somebody here just talked about seeing the same thing in Atlanta. One of the things that it seems like we have not gotten past placing everything in a plastic bag. We just dump it in a bag, tie a little string around it. We have not gotten past that stage, and I wish we could. I wish we could. Having said that, I salute, I've done this before, I'll do it again. I salute my good friend Cecil Belfon out there in New York. He runs Grenada Market, which you hear advertised here. And this is something he was very concerned about a few years ago, and actually came up with a way to package some of the spices, which he gets from here and sells in New York online. Neat packages. And you know, when you can't help but take a second look, and if you're going to take a second look, chances are you're going to buy it. Okay? But this thing about just throwing something in a plastic bag, okay, you may argue that these farmers / vendors, they don't have the wherewithal, they don't have the know-how, or they don't have the resources. Well, please, somebody in the Ministry of Agriculture, reach out, help them, help them. You're helping the economy, you're helping you. Huh? So please, please. Ryan says, that's the Grenada way today. Encountered same attitudes on my October 2018 visit. So Ryan, you know what I'm talking about, you know. Yeah. I'm not being hard on these folks. Even though I got screwed, I'm being sympathetic. I am. They need some help. And then again, will they accept the help? You know, there's some people who just don't care. There's one guy, I saw some sandals that were made, I'm assuming from leather. They look like leather. Beautiful, beautiful sandals. And I thought, boy, this is something I could do a story on. So not only did I videotape the sandals, but I wanted to talk to the gentleman about, you know, geez, how does he do it? How long does it take? You know, how much does he sell them for? And you know, stuff like that. I took a deep interest because I thought those were really beautiful sandals or slippers. The man wanted me to pay him, boy. And I just said, you know, thanks a lot, not today, and I just moved on. Yeah. Lydia James says, according to how you look or sound, they double the price. Not nice at all. So somebody else knows. I'm not making this up, folks. It's a reality. It's a reality. Ernesto says, lots of produce, but where are the buyers? The video is very clear. Great job, Mr. G. Thank you, sir. Anthea Rulo says, that must have come from when Paul Keynes Douglas said in his dialect piece, we natives don't lose for free gain. We natives don't lose for free gain. Anthea, maybe, and by the way, I understand that Paul's in town this weekend. Not to perform. I think he's just here on vacation. Lori Bridgman says, don't blame them, education level have a part. Don't blame them, education level have a part to play. That's what I said. Get the authorities to help these people. Help them. They deserve to have a better life. But they need help. Let's reach out to them. And I hope that by talking about this morning, somebody out there is listening and will help these people. Not just with the packaging of their products, but with their attitudes and being fair. You know, look at people here agreeing about how they're ripped off. You know, come on. Dennis Perkins says, George Christine says, thanks for talking about being overcharged. She notices it as well here in She notices it here in Carriacou as well. Huh? It happens. It happens. Veronica Sandy says, we have a Labé market in Brooklyn. Well, good for you. You know, there are Caribbean markets in Toronto, in Montreal, New York. I can vouch for those cities, in London. And I'm sure that there are other cities around the world where they've got Caribbean markets. But I'll tell you one thing, in Montreal some time ago, I saw some mangoes that looked really, really attractive. I'm a lover of Ceylon mangoes, okay, lover. Put them on your tongue and they melt. So I saw what looked like Ceylon mangoes at a supermarket in Montreal. And I decided, gotta get a bag full of those and take them home, partner. Apparently they were from one of the Central American countries. Nothing comparable to the mangoes we have here in Grenada. Absolutely nothing comparable. That was heartbreaking. Okay. Nigel says, hemp plastic is biodegradable. Sadly, because hemp is family of cannabis, hemp is illegal. Okay, thank you, Nigel. Going to contemplate that one after the program. Ernesto says, want to charge you for the videos? Well, things are really bad in Grenada. They should be grateful for the free advertising. Yeah. Yeah. I understand your point. I like to look at things from both sides. To an extent, I understand their point as well. Nobody likes being ripped off. You know, when you hear the stories, I think Margaret mentioned to me last night that, you know, as a youngster growing up here in Grenada, she didn't want people to take her pictures. And maybe that was the reason behind it. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, folks. All right. So let me see here. 10:29 and a half. 10:30. I'm going to take another little break here now. And then when we come back, we are going to take a look at Grand. Boy, you're going to love the scenery coming up in this little piece. Love the scenery. You're going to take a look at Grand Anse on a cruise ship day.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And GRENADA is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while GRENADA can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Okie doke, it's 10:33 and a half, folks. I see we've been joined by Clive Joseph Ramdeen. Says, good morning, Mr. Grant. Greetings from Berkeley, California. Hey, you're up early. It's what, probably about 6:30 in the morning there, sir? Wow. Okay. It says, watching and listening to your program, as always, once the time is available. Well, I'll tell you what, sir. You know, you don't just have to wait until we come on live, which we are right now, Sunday morning, 10:34 in Grenada. The programs we do, all the programs, whether it's Sundays with George Grant, McWee Chat, Good Day Grenada, Ruggles Ferguson, Law Made Simple, they are all archived on this website. If you're looking at us now on the website, just scroll down a little bit and you'll see those archives, and you can watch us at your leisure, at your convenience, or at any time. So thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again. Now, it was a pretty, hold on a minute here, let me get this all queued up. It was a pretty busy afternoon at Grand Anse, as you're about to see. And I'm going to ask you a favor. It's two favors I'm asking you this morning. As you watch this footage, try and mentally place yourself in the environment you're about to see. And I'm directing this at those of you, especially in Canada, the United States, and Europe. Because I know it's cold there. I know. So I'm just taunting you. Do you mind? I'm taunting you. Okay. Don't just watch the video. Yeah, nice video. But don't just watch that. I want you to tune in your ears to the surf lapping on the beach. That will drive you crazy, believe me. I'll tell you one thing I learned yesterday, you know, is that there's at least one category of vendor doing extremely well on the beach. Thank God to all the sunshine we have here. Those who rent beach chairs and umbrellas. Take a look at this. This is actually under a tree. That's why some parts of that video. But look at, this is just the start of it. Look at the quantity of beach chairs as we pan around here. And then we're going to go out to the center just a wee bit. Let's see what I think. This is in the neighborhood of the French restaurant, Scratch. Huh? See, it goes way off towards the city end. Then we're going to turn around again a wee bit. And under the tree. Now, some people don't mind being out there on the beach and that stinging sunshine. But then there are others. Oh, look at Georgie Gordon. Yeah. There are others who just like being under the trees. And that's what now, I'm looking towards the St. George's Fair. Listen to laughing on the leaf. And there's one of the cruise ships. That's there's the infamous jetty. We're going to actually step out there. And when you see how crystal clear that water is, it's on days like this that I really enjoy going to the beach. We're going to start walking towards the west. Umbrellas. To that water. Yes, Ron, that's near to umbrellas. Beach. Towards the what's the name of that place now?
How are you guys doing?
It says postcard shots. Sure, you done. Look at these people. These people spend big bucks.
Well, you know what the problem is, Bob.
Stroll along the beach. There's the Radisson off to the left there. Now, if you look to the right, that little hill in the distance off to the right, two of those properties are the Mount Cinnamon, straight ahead, and this new property, which is replacing the, I think it's called the Kawana. They're supposed to be
We, the members of the Grenada Taxi and Tour Guides Association, are facing a problem over 9 years that we cannot go in front of the cruise ship terminal to look for a job. We have to stand in front of DG Cell, and anytime we made an attempt to cross it to look for a job, the police want to arrest us and put us inside. And there are guys who are not authorized by the Grenada Board of Tourism. They are going over there and the police isn't telling them anything. And they're getting the jobs and sell it to other non-authorized taxi operators.
Have you brought this to the attention of the authorities?
Yes, we went to Grenada Board of Tourism several times, and they say one gentleman who is in charge, who is involved in being on the Grenada Board of Tourism, he has a lot to do with it because he's operating the NTA taxi. He's the president. So they say he's one of part of the held up that the police always hassling us.
What's the next step you guys plan to take?
Well, so far we was planning to go to the Prime Minister because we had went to Minister already and it seems as we are not doing anything. Nothing has been done.
Why do you think this is happening?
I really can't say. Why? Because every year to renew our ID, we have to pay to the tourist board $100 to get it, to operate as taxi operators and as a member of our association. And it's a small hand, it's about 20-something of us, and we're just having that problem year go, year come.
Now, Georgie Porgy is about to set foot for the very first time on the new Grand Anse jetty. Again, remember at some point in there, I want you to take a look at how clear that water is. You can actually see fish back there. That would be off to the left. First, we're going to take a look at that boat that's coming up there. Right. Look at the flags, man. Ain't you patriotic? Look at those outdoors. They're not just flying those flags.
You good?
Look down here. See if you see the picture. Take a look. Take a look.
Well, the season is not going too bad for us. The good thing about it is that we haven't got no bad weather, no rain or nothing like that to upset our operation. So so far the season is going very, very well so far for us. Towards the jetty, well, as you can see, it's not so much of a, good built proper structure for us. It's the condition of our boats. If you see our boats, the height of our boats, and the jetty is a lot too high for our boats. And the next thing again, they build the jetty right where the water starts to break. When the water starts to fall. So any day the water gets rough, we cannot use here. We have to go back on the sand. And they have this new law right saying now if we cannot use the jetty, we cannot work. I mean, and that is very bad. It's not good because it's not our fault. The jetty has been built like this because we was here. We've been telling them, the builder, and they refused. Afterwards, they tried to blame us and saying that we are the ones who caused them to build the jetty like this. But it was not we. We was not the one who given the instructions or anything. Matter of fact, they didn't even ask us any question. We was here working while we was building. They see the condition of our boats, and they do it like this. We have to be very careful, as we always do, very, very, very careful when we taking the people on and off of the water taxis. Very, very careful. If we don't do that, a lot of people could get hurt because sometimes the boat is so low down.
Mr. Cat?
They have people have to sit on the jetty, sit on the boat to get up on the boat, to get down into the boat. Sometimes when you have to grab the people on the sides and have them get off of the boats because of the jetty is so high when the tide is very low. So this jetty is not really ideally suited for us to work. You know, probably suited for some bigger boats, I don't know, but it's not for us really to work. Thank you.
Tomorrow will be my birthday. Oh, can I say that?
Tell me, how's the season going this year?
It is good. Yes, it is good.
That's all you have to say, Janice?
Well, I would like to thank God for that little business, and I would like to thank God for everything what is happening to us on Grana's Beach. Everyone is getting something. Everyone is eating. The Lord is blessing all of you. Today is a cruise ship out there, and all of you are happy. We just want to thank God for small mercy, what He has given unto us. I am speaking on the behalf of all the vendors on Grana's Beach. We thank God for everything, and we welcome the tourists anytime, anywhere, anytime they want to come to Grenada, they welcome. Grana's Beach is #1, and we welcome everyone. Thank you.
Let me, I became so relaxed watching that video that I just slumped in my chair, so let me sit up and get back to work here. Folks, I had so much fun shooting that stuff yesterday. Really, really incredible. And from what I see here, you folks are enjoying that stuff. You know, the gentleman, the water taxi operator, I just wish people, those in authority, would listen. So many of the problems we have in this country happen because those in authority find it, I guess, demeaning to listen to those a little bit down there, you know. It's not nice. Not nice. Not nice. Pathetic. Hey, Bev! So if only they would listen, things would be so much better for us all. But unfortunately, you know, we're an authority and we think this is what's good for you, and therefore that's what you shall have, and if you don't like it, stuff it. Shame. Shame. Listen to the people. That's what you were put there to do. Listen to them. Serve them. Let me get back here to Facebook for just a bit. Ryan says, the road into Umbrella's beach bar and grill is in bad disrepair. Absolutely, Ryan. And it's not just to Umbrellas. Other parts of Grand Anse as well. Once you get off the Grand Anse stretch there, or the Morne Rouge stretch, this is what you find. The roads down to the beach are in a state of disrepair. It's unfortunate, but it's one of the realities that we have to deal with. I think Mr. Pitt has arrived there. I hear somebody coming through the door there. Yeah, man, Mr. Pitt, come have a seat here and look at some of the fun we've been having here. Veronica Sandy says, beautiful scenery. I'm so jealous. Look at Grenada. So nice. Veronica, girl, you're not the only one. I salivate every time I look at video like that. I really, really love that stuff. Then Margaret Francis says, the height of the jetty is the first thing that struck me. The other thing is the pollution from all these boats. Makes me think twice about bathing there. Another good point. Another good point. Ryan says, nice lady with a red beret. That lady at the end of the clip that I showed you a little while ago, she's a vendor at the vendor's market. And I just went up to her and started chatting and found out that today is her birthday. I think her name is Janice or Janet. Happy birthday, Janice. God's blessings, my friend. And then Ryan says, master and servant ideology. Okay. Yes, you're right. You're right. Well, folks, let me tell you something. I am graced now. I'm not through yet. I'm not about to get to these folks yet. But I am graced by two people. On my right, I have Beverly Sinclair, who's joining us by Zoom. Look at that big picture of Beverly there. And also Mr. Brian Pitt. Now, take a look at this. Mr. Pitt is, look at the camera here. So Mr. Pitt, I don't know, but it appears to me that he has found a pencil sharpener big enough to hold his head. Look at, clean, look at that. Well, we're going to ask him about that when we get to him in just a wee bit. But there's one more thing I want to show to you, and this, to wrap this segment up, and this has to do with the Billfish tournament, which officially ended yesterday. And as I mentioned to you yesterday afternoon, I stopped by there to see how things were going. You know, it turned out that it was the most successful edition of the Spice Isle Billfish tournament, and it came to an end with a prize-giving ceremony which took place last night. I had expressed my concern during the week about the fact that they had publicized this prize-giving ceremony and dinner as taking place at the Roy St. John playing field. How do you have a big event like that on a playing field? You know, you thought people would be sitting at their tables with their cutlery and chinaware and all this stuff. Well, forget about it. Man, they put some tents up in front of the pavilion down at Roy St. John. I wasn't able to go because I had to be here editing this stuff for you this morning. But I'll tell you, it went well. Yesterday, when I went to visit, I spoke with one of the organizers, Andrew Baczynski, and also he arranged for me to speak with a couple of the anglers. Here goes. Check this out.
I think like 79 or 80, so you're talking about almost 40-something years of coming here. And it is something we look forward to every year. It's part of who we are and what we want to do. And of course, the Billfish organizer, the Spice Island Billfish tournament organizers have always done a good job at creating an environment for us to come and fish and have a good time.
What is it about the organization that keeps you ticking? They keep getting better year after year. We always said it was the best tournament in the Caribbean. It's confirmed after their 50th. It's the greatest tournament in the Caribbean right now.
Okay. How was this week's fishing, as far as you
Well, it was lovely. We had 4 days of tournament fishing, and we fished the Monday before, so 5 days of fishing, and we were competitive. We didn't win, but I think we were competitive, and we had a good time. We had lots of chances, and there's a lot of fish there. This afternoon was very busy, and Grenada has the resource, you know, this sport fishing resource, and that's what really, at the end of the day, makes it good.
And how many years have you been coming here, young man?
I would figure probably 35, 36 years.
Coming back next year?
I hope so.
Yeah. Good to meet you.
Yes, I'm Andre de la Rose. I love coming here and come here every year. I mean, this is what we do. Yep. We love to do it.
Absolutely. So it was a good week. It was
it was a good week. Excellent week.
Okay, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Andrew Baczynski, a member of the organizing committee. This is our 50th. It is a signature event, and from all reports, from comments by the anglers themselves, it has been an absolutely fantastic tournament. We had an extra half day in this. It has been enjoyable. We've had a record number of participants, a record number of boats, 75, which makes this perhaps one of the biggest tournaments in the Caribbean. We have I think it's over 350 registered anglers. It is enormous. The comments from the participants is that this is the Caribbean's must-do tournament, and as organizers, we are truly pleased. Our sponsors are overjoyed. The impact of this on Grenada is tremendous in terms of spending power of the individuals here, and the supply of ships they're purchasing, their entertainment. We had a special night of entertainment. All in all, it has been an absolutely fantastic signature tournament. And I don't know, the problem with this is how we're going to top it next year.
As far as the standings are concerned, do you have any idea where Grenada stands right now?
Grenada is in the top 10. We leave it at that. We done well.
Paul Thompson. I'm part of the London Pride crew.
Trinidad?
From Trinidad, sorry, yes. And the skipper of the boat, owner of the boat, is Nick Drew.
How many times have you been here before?
This is our 8th year, I believe.
Okay. What is it about this tournament that keeps you coming back?
Well, we've actually fished quite a few tournaments throughout the Caribbean. We've done Tobago, we've done St. Lucia, Jamaica recently, Montego Bay tournament last year. But we come every year to Grenada because it's a tournament that has a great vibe. The fishing is incredible. The camaraderie on the jetty is you know, unlike other places. But mainly it's about the fish. The catch is good, you know, and we enjoy the tournament.
How are your catches this week?
We did not so well. we brought a sailfish. We brought a sailfish to the boat. We lost that very close to the boat. We also brought a blue marlin to the boat. We also we lost that as well. So we had some bad luck today for the tournament, sorry. And today we lost a sailfish.
And finally, overall, what would you say the tournament was like? How do you feel about the overall tournament?
Definitely, I recommend it. I recommend it for the rest of the Caribbean. I think it's one of the best tournaments in the Caribbean right now. I mean, we're up to 78, I think, or 79 boats for this tournament. Yes, it was the 50th anniversary, but average, I think, around between 45 and 50 boats every year. And I definitely recommend, you know, other anglers coming to this tournament, for sure.
See you next year.
See us next year. London Pride crew.
Tony Telfer, I fish on the boat Family. We used to fish on various other boats, but this is our newest boat that we have gathered to fish on. A very good friend of mine bought it a couple of years ago. So this is the boat that we use now.
How is the fishing over the past week?
The fishing generally hasn't been bad, but for us it's not what we're accustomed to, because the whole technique in catching billfish now has changed. And we, being a rather senior citizens, we have not changed with the times. No, because as I say, the technique for fishing now, you know, has transformed into something that's rather professional. And we're still trying the old methods, and they're really not working.
I understand you've been here over and over and over again. What is it about this tournament that makes you tick?
Well, we started coming here because bill fishing is an exciting type of fishing. And we don't have that in Trinidad. We have it in Tobago, but the logistics in Tobago are still not any good. There's no water available, there's no fuel available. And we became friendly with the McIntyres and, you know, people like Andrew, who have always been very accommodating. And we just keep coming back because we enjoy the tournament, we enjoy the camaraderie, you know, and this tournament is the mother of all the tournaments in this region. You know, Trinidad has spawned off of this, Barbados, St. Lucia, Martinique, everybody has spawned off of this tournament. So, like I say, you know, we support them because, you know, the Grenadian people are very accommodating. We love the island. And, you know, if I would even go so far as to say we feel safe here.
And you're here for our 50th, and I bet we'll see you again next year.
But that's for sure, you know. But I just told them, you know, that they'd have to, I think they need to put in an old age policy, an old age premium, because This lady here is our junior angler, and she has grandchildren, so. You know, so we have our oldest angler, Carl Young. Carl is 77. Winston is 76 this year. Kent is 73, I'm 72. And I won't tell you how old Marilyn is.
You want to walk out of here alive.
Exactly.
Okie dokie. Folks, that most of that footage was shot aboard the actual yachts. The only interview we shot off a yacht was the one you saw with Andrew Baczynski. Now, there's a note here from Ernesto. He brought this up, I think, last week or the week before. He says here, I'm really thankful you went out of your way every week to share a part of home with us in the diaspora. Mr. G, I think you're shooting 4K. Really clear, Mr. G. Ernesto, as I mentioned last week, I'm not shooting 4K. I intend to start shooting 4K. It's just that 4K gobbles up a lot of storage, okay? There's some complexities with it, and also the fact that even in the United States, most people are not into 4K yet. They're gravitating to it. That's the new thing, you know. We had them go from these little 4x3 screens to the 16:9 screens. Now, 4K. It's coming. But believe it or not, the stuff that you saw me showing here just a few minutes ago was shot with a simple Samsung mobile phone. I think it's the A8. That's what I shot that with. I got that, I think December was 1 year ago since I got that, okay? Now, Ryan says, hi, Brian. You know somebody named Ryan Jabon?
I can't put a face on the name, but hi, Ryan.
Ryan says, hi, Brian.
Okay.
And Ronnie Slinger is saying real good. I guess he's referring to the video. Okay, folks, the other, I've already shown you Brian. Let me show you this lady now. Look at look at this lady. There she is. Look, smile, Bev, and wave. There goes Bev. I mean, these are the folks we're going to be talking with in just a wee bit. But right now, we're just going to take another break here. We'll come on back.
Labukan Creative Center, in association with Spice Basket, presents Mayhem in Paradise.
All the time you complaining I never had a steady job. Now I get an opportunity to get a permanent one. And woman, you acting up? I acting up? Yes, and you know why I didn't tell you, man? It's because of your stupid attitude, man.
My stupid attitude?
Yes.
You come this early morning pulling cutlass at me, right?
It's a play by Francis Uriah Peters, together with a nostalgic folk musical journey, plus the Tivoli drummers at Spice Basket, Wednesday, February 6th. Tickets from Grenadan Optical and Kittens Drug Mart at $40 each. Children 12 and under, $25 at the door. It's a special independence production of drama, folk music and dance, produced by Uriah Peters, Wednesday, February 6th at Spice Basket, 8:30 p.m.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Okay, folks, okie dokie. It's 11:06 and time now to say good morning to my two, supposedly in-house guests, even though I've noticed that Beverly, for some reason or another, has simply just vanished. But the other gentleman is right here. There's Mr. Brian Pitt. And see what I mean? Look at the glow on his head, man. You look like a full moon, Brian. Good to see you. How are you?
I am great. Excellent barber.
Yeah?
Yes, he makes sure that I look as young as possible.
That's a tough job, isn't it?
And I'm disappointed, George, that Beverly's not sitting next to me. I'm not familiar with this high-tech studio that you have here. The last time there was a huge board, and I can't touch Beverly. That is disappointing.
And are you hearing her?
No, I'm not.
Oh boy, Beverly, it looks like oh no. Looks like we're going to have an issue here. You're right, Brian. We did have this huge board in here, but after going for a number of years, 24/7, that board sort of gave up the ghost, and we have not had the resources to get that repaired yet. So we're using a little makeshift here, which seems to be creating a problem for us this morning, because I'm hearing Beverly, but obviously, you're not. How are we going to deal with this particular issue? Beverly, first of all, let me say good morning and thank you for joining us this morning. I invited you because you wrote an article on Facebook, a story on Facebook a couple of days ago, which really sparked a lot of interest. And I thought, I'd like you to come in here and sort of expand on it, because in those few lines that you wrote, you said an awful lot. Let me hear you.
Good morning, George. Good morning, Margaret. And Brian, a very special good morning to Brian. Happy New Year. It's great to see you virtually. And soon, I'm sure we'll get together soon so we can touch and maybe have a little Happy New Year get together somewhere. But yes, George, I wrote that article because I have observed that the Ministry of Education decided to stage a substitute meet, I call it, for intercall. The Principals Association announced that due to the high level of volunteerism from teachers, which caused intercall to happen, and that being withdrawn this year, it's going to be impossible to stage the event, and so the decision was taken to cancel. And for those listening to this broadcast, it is interesting that intercall was not the only event cancelled for those reasons. Every year, the schools have several sporting activities: cross-country, netball, football, volleyball, cricket, various sporting activities that involves athletes, various different type of athletes. Track athletes are not the only athletes that need exposure and need attention. So I looked at this situation where the minister was very quick, days after the Principals Association sent out that release. The minister was ready to respond. And I listened to the response, and my response to her response was, "Come on, Minister Pierre, what is happening here?" And let me put some things on the discussion right up front. First of all, we are led by a government, not a political party. And this is something I think we who speak publicly need to keep drilling in the heads of people, because we have adopted a culture where a political party is seen as the government, and it's not. People are elected from a particular party to form the government. And once that is done, the political party is not supposed to have any sway, because the government belongs to the entire country, not to the party. But far too often we see party politics getting into the governing and governance of the country. You have to belong to the party or support the party to get jobs, to get promotions, to get contracts, to get certain benefits, as if the resources of the country belong to the party it doesn't. It belongs to the people. And the people of the country need to recognize that every single dime in the treasury belongs to the taxpayers. Even if it's money which is borrowed, it still belongs to the taxpayers because we have to pay it back. It's coming out of our pockets to pay it back. So we need to stop allowing those elected to serve to behave as if the country belongs to the party and the resources of the country belong to the party, and because of that they can use it for party favors and to do whatever they want. And these thoughts came through my head as I was there listening to the minister, and I'm like, so who did the Ministry of Education meet with to decide that having this substitute meet was something that could step in to fill the gap from intercall not happening? And from what I have uncovered, there were not discussions with organizations to say, let's do this as there will be no intercall. The first discussion should have been with the Principals Association. But since this whole impasse began with the teachers, the elected officials of the country, aka the government, as we will call it for this discussion, the government has just been very antagonistic towards the principals, towards the teachers in general. And I believe, and this is my strong opinion, that because of this antagonism with the teachers, which began from last year when the teachers decided to demand certain things that they were promised, gratuity and pensions and the restoration of these, and on top of that, the docking of the pay and all of these things that cause this animosity between the teachers and their employer. I believe because of that, the ministry didn't bother to have a meeting with the Principals Association to say, what's happening, guys? Intercall is a big thing. We don't want to just cancel it. No. The high-handed approach was taken. The arrogant approach was taken. Oh, you don't want to do intercall? Well, we will do it. And I'm just sick of it, George. I'm really sick and tired of this kind of lack of leadership from the people who are supposed to be leading the country. We are having a serious leadership crisis, not just in Grenada, but right across the Caribbean. A very, very serious crisis in leadership, because those who sit in positions from where they are supposed to lead seem not to have a grasp or an understanding of what their role is supposed to be. They seem to lack the basic tenets that are supposed to make someone become a leader, someone that sets proper example, someone that points in the right direction, someone who is there to cool fires, not to fuel them. And I don't see the Ministry of Education taking that role. I see the Ministry of Education seeking to further polarize and set people against people, instead of trying to bring some sense into what is already a very, very antagonistic situation. Why would you, as the minister and as the ministry, in the midst of everything that is happening, because intercall is not an isolated case, the cancellation of intercall did not happen in a vacuum. So why did you, in the midst of all that, believe that this solution is to come and say, oh, we'll have a substitute meet? Right away, you are setting up students against teachers, parents against teachers, because there is going to be a further divide. And you know that, she knows that. There is going to be a further divide around this substitute event, because there will be those who will support it and those who will not. And is that what you want? Is that a solution? So you get up on one hand and say, oh, we can do it too, and further polarize a polarized nation. So that is one aspect of it. And the burning aspect for me is the lack of leadership that is in this situation, and not just situation, but in general. But since we're dealing with this situation, we'll focus on it. The lack of leadership in the situation from the employers, the teachers. And I know there are people out there who will jump up on the union and say the unions and whatever, whatever. But the unions are made up of a group of people who are employed by the ministry. In this case, we're talking about the Ministry of Education. It's their employer. So if you work in an organization and you are not happy about something, do you expect your employer to draw a sword and confront you and say, okay, you're not happy about this, let's fight to the finish. Last man alive will remain standing. That's not how you who are supposed to be in a position of leadership is supposed to take on a situation and deal with it. I have serious issues with that. I have serious problems with that. And I believe it is wrong. I believe even if there was any good intention for this substitute, it's overshadowed by the attitude and the arrogance and the wrong messages that are being sent. So what good can come out of it? Any good that can come out of it is not going to shine. And it's not going to be the best, neither for the athletes nor anyone else involved in this event. The students, the athletes are not the only stakeholders in Intercall. Intercall has been a sponsored event for 50 years. You have the sponsors, you have the teachers, you have the parents, you have the vendors. You have so many different people that are involved in that event. And if there is going to be a substitute event, why is it that the focus is going to be on the athletes only and how much we must care for them? The athletes that the minister is referring to, she does not come in contact with them day to day. The teachers do. The teachers are the one who interface with these young students, these young athletes, and know what their needs are. They know what should be done to get them to a level of competition. They know. They're the ones who are there every day, one-on-one with these students and these athletes. So now you want to get between the immediate contact and bring in people who have probably very little knowledge of what is happening with these students, with these athletes, and say, okay, this is going to be the team that will take this event forward. And you expect it to be a success? I'm
Beverly,
I'm very concerned.
Are you hearing me, Beverly?
Yes, I'm hearing you, Brian.
Beverly, you know what? You touched on a very interesting point. Let's talk Intercall. I was an athlete at one point, Beverly, and I think Intercall is more important now to the athletes than in my time. Reason? It's an opportunity for these kids to get scholarships. By the performance at Intercall, a lot of our athletes who are now in the diaspora, further in their education, I believe got the opportunity through their performance in Intercall. So it's not a light event. It's not just an event that takes place every year for 3 days. It's an opportunity for young people to further their education by good performance. And we should not lose track of that. And I don't know that taking it as lightly as we are taking it is giving credence to these athletes who are waiting for this opportunity. Those athletes who are about to leave school, for example, who want to have an opportunity to perform well in front of the coaches and or the scouts that might be here. We know, for example, that you are familiar with the Jamaica situation. Champs in Jamaica is an excellent opportunity for all these young people to get access to universities outside of Jamaica. And I think we have to be very, very, we have to be very serious about how we approach this subject, about just having Intercall for having Intercall's sake. That's what I want to offer at this point, Beverly.
Yes, I hear you. And one of the things, while Intercall is seen as an opportunity for athletes to get this kind of exposure, which could lead to scholarships. It is also a fact, and Brian could bear me out on this, that some of these scouts will not even be here, except there is an athlete which is making an impression enough to be noticed from outside of Grenada. And if this is happening, then some scout will say, well, I've been hearing about, say the athlete's name is Brian Pitt. I've been hearing about Brian Pitt. He's been posting good times. This event is happening. Let's go down to Grenada and look at him to see what he has to offer on the track. But the scouts don't just come here because Interpol is happening. Something has to attract them to bring them here, because it's not just Grenada. This is a worldwide search that they are doing. So they don't just go to places willy-nilly. They have to have a reason. Something has to draw them. Just like when Kirani was doing well, it drew them here. They came here, they looked at him, and they liked what they saw, and the rest is history. So for Interpol to happen in a vacuum, it will not serve that purpose. It wouldn't.
Margaret?
Yeah, hi everybody. I agree pretty much with what Brian and Beverly has said. And I mean, it's really a sad and unfortunate situation that it has come to this. And what I think is pretty ironic about it is that the people who have taken this decision are the same ones who are talking about caring about the students' welfare. In my opinion, if you really do care about people, then you would seek a holistic solution to a problem and not simply say, this is it, take it or leave it. It just doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
I want to just simply go back to December, because that has been bothering me. Why would you want to deduct salaries from teachers in the middle of December when we're approaching Christmas? And the only answer that I can come up with, Beverly and Margaret, is that I do it because I could.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is sad. That is sad because, you know, I ask myself the question, who or what is a teacher? I think we all know this person who is teacher in our lives, who have helped us form who we are. Whether it's our interpersonal skills, whether it's our life skills, we remember them for some reason. And I think we are underestimating the importance of the teacher to our children, our parents, and our guardians. In today's world, or should I say today's Grenada, where there are more single parents doing 2 and 3 jobs, a teacher is most important person in the child's life for the majority of their school term. And until and unless we can come to grips with that, I don't believe that we can approach the solution to this thing in a reasonable manner. Ladies?
And you know what is ironic about the docking of the pay? You talk about how much you care about the students, but you take away money from the people who help the students. You take away money from people who help to buy books for these students you say you care about. You take away money from the people who help to buy lunch and give bus fare to these children that you say you care so much about. So how do you care about these children so much and go and cut off a source of assistance, a critical source of assistance, I must say? Because teachers will attest that there are many parents who, for whatever reason, will send child to school and expect the teacher to find them breakfast, to find them a pencil to write with, to find them a book. The child wakes up and says, Mommy, I don't have any exercise book. Go on to school, teacher will give you. You see? And you cut off from those teachers the very source that they can use to assist these children. And then you want to come and claim that you care and love these children so much that you must have a substitute Interpol games. And that is supposed to make sense to thinking people.
Yeah, you know, and to add to what Bev was saying, in addition to all those sacrifices, I think another thing that we also overlook in terms of the sacrifices that teachers already make, you know, from their resources, the impact it has on their families. Actually, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine on this particular situation, and she was saying she remembered as a child, because her mom was a teacher, just how much time she didn't get to spend with her mother either. Because when the mother came home, she also had to prepare lesson plans and all that good stuff. So there is really no time to spend with your own children and your family. So there is also that sacrifice that we also seem to forget when we speak about the sacrifices that teachers make, the impacts on their families as well. And sometimes they even rope their families in to do things for their classes. So this affects people all round. And trying to say it's them versus us, it's really unconscionable. There's really no other way to describe it.
Exactly.
Ladies, I want to raise an interesting point here. Is this an attempt to polarize teachers? You know, we live in a polarized society where it's either green or yellow. And basically what we're saying by this attempt to have a sports meet is that the teachers who are supporting a particular party will be there, and those who are not will not. Is this an attempt to polarize the teachers? And this can't be good if it is.
No, and that is why I talked about how much we need to separate this whole party politics from the governing and the country. Because you talk about polarized green and yellow, right now it's polarized green or nothing. If you're not supporting green, you're nothing. You saw? Because I don't know where yellow, it has faded into the sunset. So it's green or nothing. And because of that, you try to use the resources of the state, the resources that belong to all the people of the country. You try to use it to divide and to separate and to play an advantage for you, or to play what you consider an advantage for you, for your own political interests, and not for what is the good of the country at this point in time. And it cannot be the good of the country at this point in time to be polarizing the very young in the generation, to be putting students against teachers, to be putting it in the minds of the students that your teacher don't care about you, that's why they're not having intercall. It's wrong. It's wrong, and it is dishonest.
Yeah, I agree with you, Beverly. It's wrong and dishonest, but that's the nature of the beast, and that is it's sad that we have gotten to this point in this negotiation. But again, we are doing it because we can. And yes. The last time I looked, a large percentage of this population, you can correct me if I'm wrong, about 40% of the people did not vote green. Whether they abstained or voted for the other party, that's a large percentage of the population. And I think it's up to the government in power to try to please as many people as possible. And this attempt to put the teachers, the students, and the parents against the teachers can't be right.
Right. And I'm glad you raised that point, Brian, and I really want to reinforce it because it's a point I raised myself. The party which forms the government currently did so by winning, what, 51% of the votes, which means 49% voted for somebody else. And you still have another larger percentage of the population which did not vote at all. So to say you got a majority, you have to put the majority in context of those who turned out to vote. Because a percentage of the registered voters turned out to vote, a percentage of those voted for you, another percentage voted for someone else, and the larger percentage are either not yet qualified to vote or they just didn't choose to vote. So you are not there because the majority of the country decide that we're voting for you. You are there simply because it's a numbers game, and those who came out to vote were X amount, and of that X, the larger part of the X voted for you. And that is fine. That's the system we have. But once you have won that election, you need, and we, and not just those who are placed in positions of authority now, but the rest of the population need to wake up and get up and say, look, we cannot have the country being run by a political party. The country needs to be run by the people who are elected to form the government, and they are supposed to be a government for the people, not a government for a political party. And that is the crux of the problem that we have, and that is why we have such a serious, critically serious crisis in leadership, because no longer are people required to lead. You're just required to belong to a party and you can do whatever you want. And that is exactly what I see unfolding here with this situation with the games. And it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I asked myself the question, because when I listened to some of the parliamentarians recently, they sound as though they're empowered to do what they're doing. They sound as though, and I asked myself the question, but why do they feel so empowered? They won 15 seats 3 times. Does that empower them? You know, to the point where the Minister of Education recently was talking about her definition of a leader. And I found it amusing that she kind of defined a leader as someone who gets people to follow them. Now, anybody can follow anybody. If I give you $10, you will follow me. And I'm saying to myself, what is she talking about? A leader, a good leader, is somebody who gets people to follow them. Where did that come from? Or is she describing or defining her leader? And is that a typical good leader? Beverly, you're smiling.
Well, it demonstrates exactly in her actions, because that does not define a leader.
Well, I was just going to say that by that definition, then Hitler was a good leader.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You know?
And we can point to some dictators around the world who could be defined as good leaders.
Yep. Oh, yes. Because they certainly get people to follow them, and we will not even drill down into the get, how it happens, but they do. And that just tells you, Brian, Margaret, George, it tells you that she does not have an understanding of what leadership is. And that is why the leadership in the country is so poor, because those who sit in positions from which leadership is expected, they do not know what it is to be a leader. Leadership does not come from something you study in a textbook, you know. And that is why when the morality of a country is going or has gone, you know that it is lacking leadership, because leadership is a moral consciousness to do what is right and to do what is good for an entire nation. And not many people can find it within themselves to do what is right and to do what is good for a nation. At its very core, leadership is a moral calling.
Beverly, you're a journalist, and recently something got my attention. Because in every country, a check or a balance to government is, in fact, the fifth estate, the media. And recently, I believe there was an election of the Media Workers Association in Grenada, and I note that the majority of members elected worked for the GIS. And I wondered when I saw this, Beverly, you're smiling loudly. I wondered when I saw this, is this a failure of the media workers? Do we not have journalists that will follow a story in Grenada, do some serious investigative reporting, and in fact report honestly on what they see?
I'm going to say here, and the chips fall where they may. The Media Workers Association of Grenada has become a joke. You see, it's a little play school. I don't know what it stands for. I'm not a member, let me say, because the association precludes people who are not born Grenadians from becoming members. So I'm not a member. But outside of that, I've followed the organization over the years. I always give my support to MWAG as a journalist. But the organization has just become a little play school. Again, it is lacking in leadership, because those who are there and who are willing to take up positions of leadership within MWAG Honestly, and I am not saying it to be offensive to them, but they need to learn certain things as well to lead an organization such as MWAG. You cannot have young people, and personally, I love to give young people opportunities, but you cannot take a young person and put them out there to fail. Because if you give a young person a job that they are not yet prepared to do, and they do not have a mentor, they have no guidance, you are putting them out there to fail. And that is what is happening in MWAG. You have young people like those who have been elected now to the executive. They are willing, they are ready, but they do not have a mentor. They do not have the guidance. They have no one to tell them that this is how an organization like MWAG is supposed to work. And this is what is supposed to happen. So how do you make MWAG be an organization which is supposed to represent journalists, to stand up and be respected and to have a voice and to make an impact? Do you hear anything from MWAG as a journalist organization, regardless of what is happening in the country? Do you see a statement coming out from MWAG? Does MWAG take a position on anything? Because these young journalists do not know how to do that, and they're afraid to do that. And especially this lot, which now comes out of the GIS, as you say, Brian. Do you think they are going to see anything happening in the country that they're going to take a position on? They won't.
You know, and Brian, I would add to what Beverly said. I mean, you talk about investigative journalism. I think another question that we need to ask, and I know we have discussed this before with Bev and stuff, is why do people get into media? Certainly, why does someone choose to become a journalist in Grenada, for example? You know, is it because you believe in something, or is it because it's just another job? In the United States here, you would hear journalists say often, I mean, they see themselves as one, a check on government. You would always hear a statement coming that their role is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. You know, people generally in the US, I mean, regardless of what their philosophical or ideological position is, when they come into media, they see themselves as having a role to play, and in particular, a check on government and government abuses. You know, so, and you know, other journalists in other parts of the world, what they do, you know, you ask them why they get into this, is because they want to make a change. You know, and so the question is that we probably need to start with asking these young kids when they come into this business is basically, why are you here?
And that is, Margaret, what you have said is so profound, and it is absolutely true. And it brings us, it brings into the argument so many different areas of journalism. The structure of what are now media houses, the structure of newsrooms, the ownership of these media houses, why these newsrooms are set up, the objective. You know, I remember talking to a media manager, and I mentioned training. And the moment the word training dropped out of my mouth, the response was, we can't afford that. Just like that. We can't afford that. Without any kind of exploration or examination of why the training is needed or how it could help the media house. The immediate response, we can't afford that. Okay, we can't afford it, so we are prepared to accept what is going out there, because as the management of the company, we don't care. And the individuals who get into it, Margaret, as you pointed out, it's just a job. They don't know why they are there, because if they knew why they are there, they would care. And they would make an effort to do something different and to be different and to afflict those comforted. But it's just a job. The management don't care. They don't care either. They come in, they do some verbatim reports, call it a newscast, and they're done.
Beverly, we've been talking intercall. Any idea if we've heard from Scotiabank?
I believe the Principals Association did mention in their news release that the major sponsor will be working with them towards next year.
Okay.
I believe that was mentioned in it, but I haven't seen a statement from Scotiabank itself.
Okay.
Yeah. And that is why I say I can't understand this response when the athletes are not the only stakeholders in this game of intercall, because slice it any way you want to slice it. What is happening is that the ministry is deciding to stage intercall because they believe they can, you know. And since the Principals Association say we have to cancel, and since we're vexed with the teachers and we're not talking to them and we're not engaging them, and we're trying everything within our power to belittle them and let them seem as unimportant as ever, we're going to do intercall. The athletes are not the only stakeholders in this. So you make a unilateral decision to go out there and do a substitute game, and then you go around trying to talk to people to get them to support it and to come on board. I mean, talk about something just being
divide and rule.
Yeah, it's just badly handled. Badly handled, you know. And we need to do better. Okay. We really, really need to do better. We need to have people who are naturally leaders to sit in certain positions, because arrogance and leadership don't go together. They don't. Arrogance breeds dictators.
I think George wanted to come in here, Beverly, for a moment, so I will let him come in.
Yeah, George wanted to come in for just a wee bit because he didn't want to exclude the people on Facebook and Rumble Chat. We're going to get back to you. By the way, just let me explain, folks, that we are having some audio difficulties in-house. For you folks out there, it's fine, but for us in here, we're not able to hear each other as well as we should. However, having said that, I just want you folks to hear some of the comments on Rumble Chat. Henry Steele says, it's ironic that Beverly used the term lack of leadership to describe the minister, because the same minister accused a principal of lack of leadership. Irony at its best. Tessa Barry says they also took away the source of income for persons who are parents. Henry Steele says those who are sowing bad seeds will certainly reap bad fruits. Now, those are the comments on Rumble Chat. Back to Facebook. Ryan says, Beverly, we in Grenada need a system of checks and balances in our government, and a USA Congress with a lady like Nancy Pelosi. Brenda says, I'm listening. Very interesting. Government of the people, not government of party. Hip, hip, hooray. Somebody's tuned in to what you guys are saying. Glenn Andrew Mark says, they're bullies, and that's what they showed. Ernesto Jose says, I think the minister is arrogant, incompetent, and her bullish mentality, especially with the principals and teachers, she needs to resign immediately. Her main aim is to put students against their teachers, and she really care, right? Kipling says the PM does whatever he wants because he knows that he has 14 yeses behind him and a lot of brainwashed idiots who would defend anything he does. Sad. Fitzroy says, how could the teachers be effective when they are hurting and feeling pain? Now, I like this one from Renewed Purpose. I've never heard of this one before. Renewed Purpose says, the resources of any country should be used for the development of its people and not just the supporters of an elected party. There needs to be a serious analysis of the principles applied by government in the use of monies and the overall advancement of its people. Too many times we see contracts, jobs, scholarships, financial and other favors granted to people and companies who are loyal or seem to be pro-party, even if these favors are not justifiable. Durrani Marshall says, yes, Brian, the 40% that didn't vote are the ones who have us in this situation. Ryan is smiling. Ryan Jaban says, but Bev, seems morality and conscience are absent in Grenadian politics. Could be. Sharon Roberts says, is there still a Media Workers Association? Sharon, you brought a smile to Brian's face. Clint Williams says, why 95% of media workers do their training in China? I won't call them journalists. Durrani Marshall says, Beverly, how many people in the media have a formal education in that field? Yeah, Beverly has asked that question a lot over her tenure. Angela Hall says, oh yes, leadership is a moral obligation to do what is right for all, not to follow blindly. I pity anyone who follows blindly. In my mind, these may be the voiceless that were spoken about. Oh boy. Glenn says, how many of our ministers have the educational background to be ministering? We need to change the criteria for becoming a candidate for elections. Clint says, we've already done that one. Renewed Purpose says, the dependency syndrome has forced many to stay quiet despite all the atrocities, favoritism, and regression that is taking place. Ernesto says, the minister is a student of the PM. What should you expect? And finally, Lydia James says, that same minister was herself a teacher. Is she forgetting where she came from? Folks, let me pay some bills here very quickly, and we're going to come on back with you guys right after this.
Labukan Creative Center, in association with Spice Basket, presents Mayhem in Paradise.
All the time you complaining I never had a steady job. Now I get an opportunity to get a permanent work. And woman, you acting up? I acting up? Yes, and you know why I didn't tell you, man? It's because of your stupid attitude, man.
Stupid attitude?
Yes.
You come this early morning pulling cutlass at me, right?
It's a play by Francis Uriah Peters, together with a nostalgic folk musical journey, plus the Tivoli Drummers at Spice Basket, Wednesday, February 6th. Tickets from Grenada Optical and Kittens Drug Mart at $40 each. Children 12 and under, $25 at the door. It's a special independence production of drama, folk music, and dance, produced by Uriah Peters, Wednesday, February 6th at Spice Basket, 8:30 p.m.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing. So it's good to know I have Coop Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
we pay attention to the usage history table, over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
All right, Brian, we're going to turn it back to you. We got about 7 minutes left, so you bung away with your friend Bev here.
All right, Beverly and Margaret, somebody raised the point about why are so many of our journalists going to China. And I couldn't help but think, China is a one-party state where the chairman has now elected himself, well, let's say elected himself for life, and operates recently on a credit system. Credit system, let me explain it to you this way. You get positive credits if you do something that is favorable to the Chinese government. So that's an open question. While we sleep, a lot of things are happening, you know, and that is interesting. But Bev, I also want to mention that a lot of the ministers who are saying what they're saying must have people enabling them. I think in our society we have to be very careful who are these enablers, because they are the ones I believe that are causing a lot of things to happen, that will say, you know, deduct the pay, let's have another games, etc., etc., etc. The enablers, Beverly, are the ones that we have to be careful with because they continue to have influence.
Yeah, I agree with that, Brian. I do. As we say, you know, those who are behind pushing the fire, because some people like the confusion and personally they have something to benefit from it, so they want it. They don't want to see things built in a harmonious way. They want the confusion. So I quite agree with you, Brian. Yes.
Yeah, but I think you also have the enablers who sit and say nothing or do nothing. Mm-hmm. They're just as bad as the ones who, as we say, joking the confusion in the background and you're not seeing them. Mm-hmm. You know, so you have to be careful about that. In terms of the comments on the question of training and China, I mean, you know, my take on journalism training is that it provides you with skills to carry out a job. If you don't have, you know, a certain philosophical construct from which you operate, there's no amount of training that's really going to make you into something that you're not. Mm-hmm. But all basically J School does, or any kind of training does, it really gives you the skill. It will teach you to be a better writer. It will provide you with skills on how to be a better investigative reporter, you know, and those kind of things. But in terms of where you're coming from and your philosophy and what guides your work and stuff, I don't know that a J School can necessarily instill that in you per se. So I don't have a problem with where someone gets training. You know, and that's just me.
Yeah, and the other thing with the training in China as well is that these young journalists, they go to China and get exposed to technical areas in journalism that we don't use here, that we don't have here. And they have zero influence or zero power within their organizations to implement any of the things they have learned to improve on what they do. So they just go to China, enjoy the trip. Those who are so inclined will learn something, but when they come back, it does not change the order of business because except for personal growth and development, and I always talk about a journalist who wants to do something on a personal level, because they can go and absorb this training and come back, and as Margaret said, be a better writer, be a better photographer, be a better videographer. But how many of them really implement these additional skills that they would have learned in China? So where they go to study is not the issue. The issue is, number one, if they are individually inclined to learn and absorb, and number two, if anything will be implemented in the media house when they come back for overall growth and improvement of the product.
Yeah, and I think, Beverly, that's a good point, because I was also thinking too, it's one thing to send people abroad to train, and it comes back to the point that you've been making all along through this discussion about leadership. we also need to look at your leadership and your management within your media house in particular. If your leadership and your management does not have a commitment to journalism and your newsroom in general, you're not going to go anywhere as a journalist, even if you're serious about the business, you know. So that's another thing that we also need to look at. We need to look at the people who are leading the media houses. What are their goals? What are their commitments? What are their objectives?
And for a lot of these training, especially in China, I can say categorically that the people chosen to go, or that the selection process is not, there's nothing methodical about it. Someone just decide, oh, this one should go or that one should go. And when I say someone, it's not the management or the newsroom. These things would usually come through MWAG. A lot of the times it comes through MWAG, and MWAG will reach over across the journalists and just pick people. And the management of the newsroom or the media house really has very little say or no say at all into who gets selected to go. I've seen people go off for training in China that don't work anywhere. They're not associated with any media house. They're not even freelancers. But they are.
I am holding George's headphones and microphones. You're not in the room, so he's passed the buck to me, and he's told me this is about the time that we wrap up. I don't know how we want to conclude this discussion.
Yes, George would say we're out of time, so we have to wrap up.
Your final words, Beverly?
My final words would be that those of us in the society who really know better should start asking and demanding for better from the people who are in positions of leadership and authority. Because it matters not who is there. It matters not which political party they come from. Some standards must be set for those who occupy those positions to adhere to and to run the country by those standards, so that when the next set of leaders come or whoever is there, they know that this is what is accepted and this is what they can and cannot do, and they operate within certain parameters. We cannot continue to just have people in authority doing whatever they want and the rest of the country either agreeing or disagreeing, and we continue to be polarized.
Margaret?
Yeah, I definitely want to second what Bev has said. We really seriously need to look at leadership and you know, really get people who are comfortable, who are principled, you know, transparent, and who are seriously interested in national development overall and not just for their own political gain.
Ladies, I just want to end by saying we must remind ourselves that a teacher, for most of us, is the most important person in our lives. We all can remember somebody who has influenced our lives up to today, and we should treat the teachers fairly. Go back to the bargaining table and stop trying to divide and rule. It pleases nobody. Have a nice day, ladies. Thank you for your company.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okie dokie. Folks. Thank you very much. Beverly and Margaret. Margaret, what's for lunch? A hungry girl.
Haven't decided yet.
No. You're not serious anyway.
Lunch? What's that?
I know, right?
Okay.
Just had the cocoa tea and
All right,
farine. What's wrong with you?
Okay, folks, we're going to have to pull the plug here now. I'm terribly sorry about that, but time is time. And a couple of comments here on Facebook just before we go. Ernesto says, Mr. G, we can say congratulations to the Windies on their massive victory against the Brits yesterday. And Lydia says, my teacher was Miss Clara Charles. And Glenn Andrew Mark says, some of the same ministers were teachers before becoming minister of this and that, and disrespected their principles day in and day out. Now we talking about respect and leadership? Please. So says Glenn. Pilgrims, quick break, quick break, and we gone.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try the sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing.
A commemorative postage stamp.
So it's good to know I have Quad Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Alrighty, folks, this is it. Curtain time for Georgie Porgy on this, where are we? The 27th day of January. Quick comments here. First of all, Glenn Mark says, thank you for a well-planned Sunday. One love. And Ernesto says, thanks, Mr. G. Great program today, as usual. Keep the videos coming. Have a productive week. That's it. Parting word from the Holy Scriptures, my dear friends. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1, 2, and 3. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you, and that you may enjoy long life on the earth. Ephesians 6, 1, 2, and 3. Pilgrims, I'm going to scoot right now, but thanks again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock right here on the next edition of Good Day Grenada. And I'm also hoping that somewhere along the line I may be able to coerce, I'm trying to choose my words here, coerce Mr. Brian Pitt to join us one of these days on Good Day Grenada. Man always has a lot of good stuff to say. Folks, God bless you. See you tomorrow.